had a lovely person that supports me on Patreon tell me that Agnes was going to turn out to be a spy. I didn't believe him. I couldn't believe him. Then this episode happened and my entire world has been destroyed. So let's talk about episode 5 of Star Trek Picard, titled Stardust City Rag, which I think is a pretty stupid title for the episode. Well, I mean, The End is the Beginning was also a stupid title. So I guess this one made a little bit more sense because they did go to Stardust City on Free Cloud, but still didn't like the name of the episode. Really petty thing to point out, but I kind of like being petty. Gets me off. Now, I just want to ask this question really quick in the beginning of the video because I know a lot of people click off and don't necessarily watch the entire review, and I want to hear your opinion on this. Did you find the actor they had play Bruce Maddox to be distracting because he didn't look anything like Bruce Maddox? I understand they didn't want to get the actor that played him in The Next Generation because the guy hasn't been working, I think, in over half a decade. Whatever. That guy looked nothing, even decades older, what I would think Bruce Maddox would look like. Maybe he just really got into perms and changing his facial structure. I mean, it's the future, right? A boring future, where they've gotten rid of poverty, disease, and people work not for money, but for what they enjoy. Disgusting. So let me know in the comment section down below if it distracted you at all. He kind of looked like Jordan Peterson to me, which I guess isn't distracting, except I kept thinking, wow, he looks a lot like Jordan Peterson. Nothing against Jordan Peterson. I hope he recovers well from his issues, but yeah. I guess since we're still talking about him, I won't talk about his final scenes quite yet, but did anyone love the fucking cliche look that the two henchmen gave each other after Bjayzl? Am I saying her name right? Bjayzl? There was a trend going on, I think about 10 years ago, that was called Vajazzle, and you took gemstones and glued them to your downstairs area. So when I see her name, that's just what I think. Her outfit, by the way, I feel like is what I want future outfits to look like. Like when I think of the future, I see those tight-ass just sparkle sequins everywhere. That's the future we need. Her entire look, killing it, girl. I did like that we got a flashback in this episode that wasn't necessarily shitting on Picard or showing us another person of why they don't like Picard or him giving up on someone. Although I guess technically 7 of 9 does blame the Federation and Starfleet and also Picard for not helping out the ex-Borg that were being stalked down. So in a roundabout way, the flashback to 13 years ago at the Seven Domes could be interpreted that way. But I'm going to choose not to because I need a flashback that doesn't shit on Picard. Okay? I need 1 or 2 of those to be okay. I have needs. Honestly, though, for as many points as I give that flashback for not shitting on Picard, it was pretty horrific seeing Icheb from Voyager. He was one of a few Borg adolescents that were picked up, and then she was under the wing of 7 of 9. I wish, and I understand they didn't want to do this, that they could have done some sort of flashbacks. Maybe in a flashback to remind people. I guess it's more of like just an Easter egg for people that watched Voyager are hardcore Trekkies or something for them, but I feel like if you want to open this up to general audiences who maybe didn't watch Voyager back in the day, of giving some sort of flashback and adding more weight to why him dying was so messed up for 7. That poor dude, though. Okay, so he had parents who gave him to the Borg multiple times because they wanted to pass a virus. He ends up giving up his node so fucking Seven can live, and then he's interrogated later in life after he joined Starfleet like he wanted, and he's a science officer working in genetics to honor his people. He's tortured, and they don't even give him anesthetic or kill him, and they're ripping out his eyeball to try to find the implants, and it's not there because he gave it to his adoptive mom so she could live. That's dark. That dude, I don't know. I guess I don't know the decades of his life that we didn't get to see, but I hope they were stellar because he got screwed over at the beginning of his life and heavily at the end. Please, Star Trek, give him a middle that's just fantabulous. I guess the positive to this, do you remember when the teasers and trailers were coming out for Star Trek Picard and we all thought Seven crying over the body was Chakotay? That's not him, so there's a positive. Yay! I just wish they would have spent more time with Seven, or maybe more on that storyline for us to feel more of a big win when she finally killed Jay. And are we guessing this is it for Seven? Did she actually make it out of there once she started dual wielding? We know that Rios gave her something that can get her back to the ship at some point if she chooses to. So I'm gonna hope she actually made it out of that situation because she's such a badass, because goddamn, Star Trek, you had her assimilated as a child. She joined Voyager, there's a whole thing with that. Then what? She loses her child, she loses her hope, she becomes full of vengeance, and that's it? You guys are dark. It does seem really sad that she never stayed with Starfleet and she joined the Fenris Rangers, and even though she's famous among them, she's not happy. She's even saying, you know, this is hopeless, this is exhausting, this is terrible, but it's better than just giving up or dying. So, no one gets a happy ending in the future. Nihilism. It's what we're all having for breakfast. I like the ads they got when they arrived to the city, and that, of course, the robotics doctor got fighting robots. Of course, Picard got a ad for tea and all that. Although poor Elnor, he didn't get anything. I guess he didn't have a social media footprint, because it really makes you start to think, do they scan them to kind of know, like, oh, we scanned this dude and he's full of tea. Let's offer him tea. Oh, we scanned druggy lady and she's full of drugs. Let's offer her drugs. This woman is robots. Let's do an ad for her. It seems more likely that it's a presence that you have. Like, they scan you, figure out who you are, and they pull as much information as they can, which is actually really scary, and I know we have that in our world. So, I don't know. I guess it would be more expanded, but, like, throughout the entire galaxy? Or maybe it's just specialized there where they collect a bunch of information and have access to all this stuff. Pretty terrifying. Side thing on Elnor, by the way, I love him more and more with every passing moment. For some reason, I just thought the stoic warrior was gonna be a boring character, and they could have made it... There are definitely cliches with Elnor, but they work. I keep saying that with Star Trek Picard. They have plenty of cliches, but they make most of them work and enjoyable. And to me, that's just a huge difference with writing level, and kind of then pisses me off with other shows when they can't have the same level as Picard. And you know, on that city, I actually like how they showed it. So I haven't liked how they've depicted some of the future cities in Star Trek Picard. I think Chicago was poorly done. This city really looked like if you went to a seedier, grungier area, what a future city like that would look like. A lot like the seedier areas of Altered Carbon. I will say I was a little bit disappointed how they did the deal heist scene, whatever you want to call it, when they were making the trade 7 for Maddox. I know we have to do this now because everyone has ADHD and everything has to be super flashy and jumping around, but you know the heist movie formula where as they're talking, we show present time, but then we jump back to the past where they're talking about their plan and working everything together, and it's so overdone, but we have to do it because if they had it in chronological order and they showed them getting ready and talking about it, and then the mission, the deal actually happening, people would have complained nonstop that it was too boring, because that's, honest to God, where we're at. Pew pew. Bright colors everywhere. Okay, so here's where I'm going to sound even more so just absolutely ignorant. So you're going to have to excuse me for this. I am definitely more of a Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan, even though I watched a lot of Star Trek. So are they setting up how, okay, Bjayzl, I'm going to call her Jay because I can't get the image of the gemstone vagina thing out of my head. Jay. Her name's Jay. She was called Jay as well in this episode. It's allowed. Calm down. So are they setting up people trying to dissect ex-Borg and take out their implants so that they can learn how to create their own Borg? I feel like that's what they're pushing towards. Because you know how in Star Wars they have the decraniated, and those are basically just slaves that follow their master? They could do the same thing in the Star Trek universe if they figure out how to make their own version of the Borg and have their own collective to be slaves or to be soldiers or something like that. It just kind of makes me think how much we are focusing on the Borg, and we have the artifact, the captured Borg cube with the Romulans working on it, and then we have this lady, and I feel like they're building towards people want to build a version of their own Borg. Which leads me up to how Picard brought up a few times since Seven was assimilated as a child, she had more hardware in her. And I have this really terrible feeling in my stomach that at some point we're going to see people trying to replicate that in children and see just these secret areas or fucking labs where they're putting all this stuff in children to create their own version of the Borg. Although on the whole child thing in 7 of 9, I know Picard was trying really hard to sell that, oh, I feel nothing for this ex-Borg, whatever, but man, was he digging in the whole, you're defiled, oh, you're a terrible creature. I kind of feel like he was kidding on the square, or a form of that. You know how somebody says a joke, but there's truth behind it. And then they had that conversation later, Seven and Picard, about, did you ever feel like you got your humanity back? Or you were human again? Yes. All of it? No. So I feel like that was him showing a reflection of how he feels that he was defiled by the Borg, and they took away something that means a lot to him, being an individual. So that part actually made me feel really bad for Picard. I mean, a lot of the show's making me feel really bad for Picard, for being honest here. Okay, so blah, 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 Seven reveals that she was lying to them. She knows Jay. They end up leaving. They get Maddox, and it turns out that Maddox created both Soji and Daesh, which we already knew that he did. But I thought it was going to be for some, crazier reason than, oh, I wanted to send them to separate places to see what the whole synth thing was about. Damn it. I was really hoping for this super secret evil organization that wanted to create androids to take over. I mean, Star Trek nowadays just loves super secret organizations, so I had a moderately good chance of being right. So now we gotta figure out what's the end goal of the synths being banned. Why did Starfleet and the Romulans work together, or a part of Starfleet, to make sure synths were no longer used? Why did they push so hard to ban androids? And I'm really hoping that this is just only a small part of Starfleet, because I'm so tired of them shitting on Starfleet and the Federation. Just... No, Agnes! You broke my fucking heart. Everyone else saw everyone else saw that you were working for Commodore O. But I was like, no, the sweet, quirky scientist, no way is she gonna betray everyone. She did. This feels like Frozen all over again when it turns out that Han was lying and he just wanted to take over Arendelle. And I know they tried to show us that she does feel terrible for killing Maddox and all that, but still, I don't know. I just don't see her being a cold-blooded murderer. Which brings me to this. Androids. Secret androids. There's more than Soji and Dej. Was Maddox the android? So she didn't care as much killing him? Because Commodore O was like, oh, hey, Maddox is an android. Or is Agnes the android? And at some point during their relationship, she died, and he created her as an android and never told her. And that's why she was essential to the process. She was the first. And then Soji and Dej came. I feel so bad for Rios. He seemed to really like Agnes. He's gonna take this hard as soon as he figures it out. You know how we saw the mind meld in the teaser trailer some months ago for Star Trek Picard? Commodore O was doing a mind meld with Agnes. So did she just show her all this bigger plan and that's why she was on board? Because that's... unless she really showed her something absolutely awful, I just don't see Agnes killing her lover. It just seemed way too out there. I hate twists just for them to be twists. I like twists that make sense. Also twists that I saw coming. Okay, let's go to Raffi real quick, and then I'm gonna wrap up this video because I'm sure I've just been rambling on for way too long. I guess I'm not a mom. I don't have kids, so I don't understand her son thing. I mean, I have a mom, and I was once a kid. So, like, I understand it from that angle. But honestly, I don't get why he's so, okay, she was a conspiracy nut, and maybe she just was focusing too hard on it. That alone, your parent just working too much, maybe she ended up destroying their lives because she couldn't stay focused on a job she was supposed to have. But it just seems really weird. I would understand more if maybe the whole conspiracy thing with Mars drove over to the point where she was doing drugs like we see her using now, and the drug issue just caused a huge wedge in the family. Just let her see her grandkid every once in a while, dude. That's cold-blooded. Anyways, I'm really happy that she's back on the ship. I was disappointed when she was leaving, even though I'm not completely sold on Raffi's actress quite yet. She did have a couple fun lines during this episode, so I'll give her that. But I'm happy she's back, and now I'm really hoping that she uncovers and solves the conspiracy with Mars, and her son feels like a total piece of shit. Like, you didn't believe her, this was really important, and she was trying to bring justice to all those people that were killed. What if they end the series with her getting back with her son and being able to play with her grandbaby? Wonderful. Star Trek. Little hope. You can just sprinkle in a little hope, and it'll be okay. I promise you. But, you know, let me know your thought on that. Do you feel like he is in the right? Maybe she tore their family apart because she was so focused on that, and then she got sacked from Starfleet and maybe refused to focus on finding another job or being there for the family. Then she got onto drugs, and he just decided, you know, I'm done with it. I don't ever have to be around you again. Have you experienced something like that? Was your mom once in Starfleet? So yeah, those are my thoughts on episode 5 of Star Trek Picard. I like this episode. Yeah. So like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below about this episode.